gentlemen.
Uh-oh.
It's time for the Early Bird Special. Bringing you the best stories from the world of sports and sports entertainment. Now, here are your hosts, Sparky and Burdick.
And welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. And it's that time again, as we do every single week. We got to check in with our guy, Bolt Brady. Bolt Brady and his bro at the BLEAV Network. Sir, how are you?
What's going on, guys?
Are you excited as I? NFL Week 1 starts tonight. How are we feeling? Any key bets that you're looking at here in this Thursday night game?
Well, I'm definitely excited. And, yeah, this line was 7 points most of the summer, and then they had the trade, and it actually bumped up to 8, and now it's 8.5.
Oof.
And that is a lot of points. In fact, it's so many points that Dak has only been an underdog by 7 or more points 5 times in his career, and he's 4-1 against the spread. I'm going to go with Dallas again tonight.
I had a feeling that's a lot of points to be given up for a team that, yeah, you lost a defensive guy, but they could still play on offense.
Yeah, and also what people have to remember is these divisional games, right? If you win your division, doesn't matter what your record is, if you win your division, you make the playoffs. So the players know this also. Divisional games are super important.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And then, I mean, Philly not coming out on banner night, obviously they're coming out with some sort of different vision. Do you think they come out with the same hunger and just drive that they had at the end of last season that just led to the run that we saw?
I don't know. They've got to be a little bit fat and happy here.
That's what
just
I was
a little
thinking.
bit.
That's what I was thinking. It's like usually when you see a team win a championship the next year, maybe not everybody. I think Saquon and Hurts and all them are going to still be great, but some of the guys lax off thinking, I already got a ring. I don't really care if I get a second one, you know?
And the Cowboys have to be fired up because I guarantee the only questions they've heard all week is, what are you going to do without Micah? What are you going to do without Micah? So they should have something to prove tonight.
Oh, I agree. How are we feeling about tomorrow night's game in Brazil? Does it being overseas kind of shake your bets at all?
Yeah, it definitely does because, you don't know what to expect, really. You also don't know what the field conditions are going to be like.
Right.
A lot of times that's an issue as well.
On top of being another division game.
Yeah, I honestly, I'll just be a fan of that game.
Yeah.
And just watch it.
See, I have the same feeling. And plus, with knowing that Harbaugh is going to want to run, and like you just said, we don't know what the field condition's going to be. I have a bad feeling that it's going to be awful, as we've seen in some of these other areas. And to be honest, if the run game's not going to be there, it's just going to be an ugly game to watch altogether.
I will give you a stat. Jim Harbaugh is 5-0 against the spread first game of the season.
Oof. That's hard to bet against. It's the Harbaugh effect is nuts to me. Before we get to the Sunday games, is there anything Saturday in college ball that you're looking out for?
Yeah, actually there are a couple. So Oklahoma is -5.5 at home against Michigan. Oklahoma's only lost 5 games in the last 5 years at home. That's a super hard place to play. And then also ASU, Arizona State, they actually are going on the road to Mississippi State. And they're actually favored by 6.5. That's a little steep when you're traveling down to SEC territory.
No kidding. I'm shocked at that number. And speaking of SEC territory, we talked about Arch last week and his Heisman odds. Have they shaken a little bit after week 1?
They have. Yep, they went down. And, that's no surprise, really. That the result of that game, I mean, I'm not going to have a conclusion about him as a player yet.
Right.
It's obviously too early, but the result was not a surprise. I don't think anyone would have succeeded in that environment.
No, you're talking about Oklahoma being a hard place to play. We're talking about Ohio State, which is arguably one of the hardest. So I don't think a lot of people were expecting a whole ton, but we were expecting a little bit more. I still feel like Steve Sarkisian is to blame for that loss, though.
Red zone plays were not very good.
Awful calls.
I heard Desmond Howard on Eisen yesterday talking about that he thinks it's disrespectful to other college athletes that they're even bringing up Arch in Heisman when other players that were even in the running last year were, runner-ups. And he said, this kid, if anything, bring up the other awards that they bring for other offensive players instead of just immediately throwing the name into Heisman is just disrespectful. I wasn't really expecting, and you put him up against Ohio State with his, the season opener. It's a tough one to just start out. And I think, like we had said, the next 2 or 3 games he's had should be getting him a little more comfortable for upcoming, tougher games in the season.
Well, when you have San Jose State, UTEP, and I think your mom's grandma in week 3, I'm not sure exactly if you're not going to be successful with Texas. But let's move to Sunday. Obviously, we have a lot of Raider fans here. Any predictions on the Raiders and Patriots there in the morning?
Well, it's not a best bet, but I do think that if I had to lean there, I would take the Raiders. I think the Patriots are a little overrated right now, and I think that the Raiders are a little underrated. I think it's definitely an upgrade at QB and Genty and the coach, so I would lean with the Raiders there.
2.5-point line is what I'm seeing right now at favoring the Patriots, but I do agree with you, especially with that. This is going to be a fun game to watch to start out the year. Any other main games you're looking for on Sunday?
Well, let's talk about the Big Daddy, the Lamar versus Josh game. Wow, the revenge game for Lamar and the Ravens. That's going to be an awesome game. Normally, I would stay away from something like that, but I think Lamar and the Ravens are going to be pretty fired up for that game. I'll take the Ravens plus the 1.5 there.
Now, we're talking we were talking Heisman odds earlier. MVP odds, I would assume Lamar and Josh are at the top of that. But do you have any sleeper picks possibly that could sneak into that MVP race?
Not really. I mean, those four AFC quarterbacks are just heads and tails above everyone.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. But there's something that makes me believe eventually we're going to get maybe a Saquon Barkley or somebody to break into this. I think they have to do something incredible. But the levee's got to break eventually, right? It can't just be a quarterback.
There's a crazy stat out there that QBs have won 16 of the last 17 MVPs or something ridiculous like that. It's almost a quarterback every year.
And that's what I'm saying. The levee's got to break eventually. This can't just be a quarterback sole award. Otherwise, the NFL might as well just call it that. And that's what it is. The MVP is the best quarterback in the league, and then the Offensive Player of the Year is now the MVP of the NFL.
Right.
And as a Dolphins fan, I don't take it too serious because the Dolphins never get any love. But to be the underdog against the Colts is okay.
That's a little wild
sure,
to me.
Go ahead. I'll take that bet, and that's just me, not Bolt. But we had a question for you, Bolt. A listener asked if the weather really takes any effect on your picks, as he expects the game tonight to be a rainy one.
Yeah, I've factored that in a little bit. Is it supposed to be raining tonight? I didn't even know that.
What I looked up after I read it says 30% and windy.
Okay, yeah, wind is more of a factor than rain, really. So once the wind gets up to 15 miles per hour, anything below that's not a big deal. But above that, wind starts to factor in quite a bit. If you ask any quarterback that's worth anything, they don't really sweat the rain too much. They can still fire the bullets in there, but when the wind starts cranking up, it also affects the kicking. So I watch the wind more than anything else.
I have to agree. When that wind picks up big and those balls start sailing, it makes it super difficult to put the ball where you need it to. Any predictions on the Monday night game, Minnesota headed to Chicago?
I actually do like Chicago in that game. Once again, it's a divisional game. They're home dogs. Everyone was really high on the Bears last year. I thought it was a little bit too early, Caleb coming out of college. I think this is the year that you see them excel.
I have to agree. One more time. And then
I like Minnesota in that one.
One last question for you. Way too early, we realize, but do you have an early Super Bowl prediction? We're asking everybody for theirs.
I'm going to go with Lamar and the Ravens.
Taking on who?
That's a good one.
What's that?
Who's coming out of the NFC?
Maybe the Niners.
The Niners make a return. Okay. I would love to see that, actually. Because last time I believe the Baltimore Ravens were in the Super Bowl was against the Niners as well. So run that back. Why don't you?
But I will be honest. I don't think it matters who comes from the NFC.
No, I don't think it does either. The AFC is stacked this year, and unfortunately, there's not a lot of teams that can keep up. But Bolt, thank you so much for your time, my friend. We really appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, fellas.
Thanks, man. We gotta take a break, pay some bills. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield.